Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today we are missing Kelsey, so it's all me. So yes, if you're watching this podcast because of bloopers and blooper reels, you will get lots of them. Anyways, we've got a great topic today. We're going to be talking about AI and the key to customer engagement and brand loyalty. I saw this app and I thought it was incredible. So I reached out. I said to Kels, "We've got to talk about this app that I just saw. It blew me away." So we're going to be talking about why brands now and retailers suddenly are adopting virtual fitting rooms. That's right, it's a virtual fitting room. Why is personalization so important online with your shopping journey or the customer journey right now? And what are three things brands should be thinking about over the next 5 years? So, welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA. And this is when I usually bug Kelsey and I say, Mayor of Blunderville, press that button, and the music comes on, and we sit here for about 5 seconds, and then we're back. And we'll probably do that in post editing. But for us, live, we're just going to carry on. This is the first, by the way. So, again, welcome to Lunch with Norm, the e commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. We're going to be talking about AI today and the key to customer engagement and brand loyalty. Our guest is a dynamic leader and co founder of 3D Look, a pioneering technology company revolutionizing in the fashion industry. As a chief commercial officer, she brings a wealth of experience in the fashion, sales, marketing, and entrepreneurship to the team. Under leadership, 3D Look has grown rapidly, expanding its global footprint and partnering with some of the biggest names in the industry. She also holds a certification in artificial intelligence from MIT. Now, what does that mean? She's smart, a testament to her dedication and innovation and her commitment to leveraging the latest technologies to solve complex problems. Today, welcome Whitney Cathcart, and she'll be joining us in just a second. Um, let's see. This is complicated now. How do I get my word from my sponsor? I might have to read it out. I might do them all at the end, but Kels isn't here right now, and he'll probably be coming in a second, but he's away. So, so much for our sponsors right now. We'll be back. I just want to talk to you about where we're at. So we're at BDSS in Puerto Rico, and it's been fantastic. It's so far it's been 2 out of the 5 days. We're going to be back on Friday, but it's been session after session after session, and really high level education for I wouldn't say for beginners, but for advanced Amazon sellers, intermediate to advanced. We've met some of the people like AMZ Elite, Tom and Joe. They're listeners to the podcast. They're on almost every podcast. Well, we got to meet them over here. Brian's here, and actually he lives in Puerto Rico. So Brian C, you usually see him listening or tuning into the podcast. So it was very interesting to bump into everybody and to just go out, break bread with them. And I think that's more important. You can learn and learn and learn. Sometimes it's information overload if you don't take notes down properly. Um, but what's really cool about coming here is the networking. So I've already met a bunch of people. The very first night, just walking into the hotel, got to meet some people. So it's such a different level, and it's so different than just. I know a lot of us rather just stay at home and let me see. Okay, the boy Blunder just came into the room and he's actually on, but he's going, I can't come on, I can't come on. So, anyways, I don't know what he's going to do, but just to let everybody know, uh, uh, the mayor of Blunderville is going to run an ad.
This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by VAA Philippines. Looking for a high-quality virtual assistant for your business? With the rigorous screening, intensive Amazon and Walmart training, and ongoing professional development, get the peace of mind with skill and motivated virtual assistants for a long-term working relationship. Hire through VAA today. And now let's get back to the show.
He just walked in and he's a lifesaver. All right. Okay. So, anyways, like I was saying, going to an event and watching it, even though it's more convenient to watch it at home, is probably a bit more money. But you just, the very first day, it paid for itself. In fact, the very first speaker paid for itself. So I encourage anybody who's taking the e-com journey to definitely, and if it is uncomfortable, to step outside of your comfort zone, go to a paid event. You don't have to go to a $10,000 event. You can. There's lots of meetups that are in all sorts of cities across the U.S. and Canada. Attend those. They're usually free, but get out and meet people. So, anyways, this is a 3-week journey from all over the world, which I finally get to go home on Friday, which I can't wait for. But anyways, this is what Kelsey would say. Smash those like buttons, ring that bell, do whatever you do, like all the social media stuff an old guy like me doesn't do. But anyways, you guys do it. Also, just want to say hi to Luke, Dennis, Rad, Marina, Chuck. Yeah, it's awesome seeing you. We have a bunch of people already tuning in today, which is fantastic. I hope my Wi-Fi stays. I'm just looking at that. That's something else we have to take in consideration here. But anyways, why don't we just get right into it, and we can sit back, we can relax, and we can add Whitney to the stream. There she is. Hi, Whitney.
Hi, Norm. How are you?
Great. I told you it was to be super casual.
I love it. More casual, the better.
That's awesome.
So I roll.
That's how you roll. Well, how do smart people roll?
You're very kind. I'll take that as a compliment.
No, this is great. So I forget where I saw the app, and I couldn't believe it. And and it's probably back in the day when you had the 1200 baud modems, and the picture would be coming and it would take 5 minutes to do. I remember running upstairs to my wife, grabbing her, bringing her downstairs. You'll never believe this. And then we waited for 5 or 10 minutes while this picture downloaded.
Right.
Well, that was the same sort of thing that I saw when I saw the app, where you take 2 pictures, and then you go anywhere and basically it fits you.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's
So
that's the idea. That's the idea. I mean, we started building the core technology back in 2016. So we founded the company in 2016. We just had our 7th birthday. Feel very
wow.
proud about that. So we've come a long way, but so is the world of retail and shopping over the last 7 years. If you think about it, we still are doing more actual shopping in store, except the number of people that have moved online over the last couple of years has increased dramatically. And that number obviously is only going to continue to increase as, more digital generations come into buying power. And you really have kind of the, older Gen Zs that are, 26, 27-ish. So they're beginning to go out, get married, buy homes. And, these younger generations grew up on smartphones. They're fully digital. So, as more and more shopping goes online, think about it, it's hard to figure out what size to buy online. And that's really our reason for being, is how do we simplify that fit and sizing experience and make it easier for you or me or whoever to figure out what size to buy and not be buying, multiple sizes of the same product, which drives up return rate. So it's, bad for brands and retailers, but it's really bad for our environment too, because most of that does not end up back on the shelf, ends up in landfill.
Yeah, you know what? I really never have thought about that. When you order 10 different sizes and 10 different, products, and then you send them back, what ends up happening? You know, uh, where do they go? Um, First of all, one of the things I think we should talk about is exactly this app. So let's talk about what it does. So I've kind of said, oh, you take two pictures, but why don't we talk about that and just how it's changed the world of apparel shopping?
Yeah, so it's actually, I mean, our core technology is a combination of three different technologies, all kind of falling under that AI, artificial intelligence umbrella. But essentially, what our core tech does is it measures the human body from two photos taken on a smartphone. And there's a lot of complex technology and, big data sets that have been built in order to be able to do that in a way that is accurate. But essentially, and I'll keep this pretty high level, is what we do is our technology has something called computer vision algorithms, and we actually detect hundreds of key points of your body from a front and a side photo. And we don't ask you to get naked. Our data sets have been trained on people wearing tight fitted clothing. So we can actually detect your body, which is really cool. And what we do with those key points is then we then build a 3D model of your body. And all this is done on our back end. And all of this is done, basically instantly. The processing time itself takes about 30 seconds. But once we have a 3D model of you on our back end, we compute measurements of your body, and we compute well over 80 measurements of your body. So if you think about it, what we're doing then is we're taking that body shape that we get from that 3D model of you, and we take those measurements and we map them against data that we get from a brand. So we can do a better job of putting you in the right size clothing than you can do if you think you have a measuring tape at home. Most people don't. A, and B, know how to measure themselves. Most people don't. So we do this in a really consistent and a really accurate manner. Again, the whole thing takes, under 2 minutes from start to finish. And once you scan yourself once, you've got your measurements. So our model is we sell directly to brands and retailers. So if you go onto a website and you see a little widget there that says get your size and try it on, that is us behind it. And what we're trying to do is make that shopping journey more simple on the consumer side. So again, you're buying one of a size, right? So we're driving that confidence level so that you're not buying, two or three. And again, there's like a 50% likelihood that the return garment is going to end up in the landfill. So we are trying to, reduce that return rate. And I'm sorry, there's a dog barking in the background
No
if you can hear
problem.
that. But we're reducing the return rates for brands, but we're increasing the likelihood that a consumer is going to convert and they're going to buy more of the right size. So they have a better experience with your brand. And that's how our core technology works.
It was so simple. And again, I forget where I first saw it, but it was okay. Take two pictures. Okay, what's going to come up? Is there going to be some ad coming up? Is it going to be? And it took two pictures, and that was it. And
Yeah, it's very fast. We've spent a lot of time on the
instant.
user experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's interesting because I'm at an Amazon or e-commerce event, and I've been at it for the last 3 weeks, and I know a lot of people who sell apparel. And one of the biggest concerns, especially holiday time, is people buy a ton of apparel in different
And they
sizes
return
because
it.
everybody's different, and then they return them. Like shoes
And
and
no brand
apparel,
fits alike. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. So you
Yeah.
just solved a huge problem for sellers, and a lot of sellers, including
Billions
myself.
and billions of dollars are returned every year.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
never touch a pearl in a million years because of that problem. I'll get into pet supplements or pets or all this other stuff, beauty products, very competitive. I never got into this because of all those returns. But now you can't go wrong. If I have a Shopify
Right.
store and I want to use that plugin, and what is I'm curious about this. What does it cost to use the plugin or app?
Yep. So we built two products. We have a product called Mobile Tailor. Mobile Tailor just delivers measurements. It's a pure plug and play SaaS product. And we have pricing plans there that start at $150 a month and go up from there. We have, companies paying us, six figures a year on that. And then we have companies that are, we wanted to be able to cater to startup companies too. So we have companies that pay us $150 a month. It's a flat out subscription fee. There's no integration needed. So it's a very like simple plug and play SaaS product. And we've a pretty horizontal use case there. So I like to think of it as really anybody that needs measurements to get people into the right fit is the way we think about it. So whether you are a made to measure brand, you are a bespoke suiting brand, we definitely see an increase in brands that are creating customized clothing, whether it's for men or for women. But this whole, shift to I want things that fit me, that fit my body is really driving that kind of increase in what we're seeing in on-demand brands. We've got brands that make, that have super high accuracy needs. So we think about like dive shops, so wetsuits, dry suits. We have companies that make really super tight fitted racing gear for Olympic athletes. We have companies that are pioneering like customized outdoor gear. We have a great company, Made Outdoors, that makes customized ski gear. I mean, absolutely super high quality, really technical ski gear. Um, so we have a very wide use case there. We, in fact, even have a bike fitting company. So they sell really expensive bikes, like 10 or 15,000, $20,000, road bikes. And when you go in, that normal experience is somebody is taking like an hour or so to actually manually measure you. We can do that in under 2 minutes, right? So it really saves time and it saves in fashion. It's reducing alteration costs. It's it's increasing accuracy and decreasing inconsistencies that cause a need for alterations or remakes in customized clothing. So we see big decreases from our customers in what they're spending on alteration costs and on remake costs, right? If somebody's buying like a $2,000 suit and the measurements are off, they're going to have to remake that $2,000 suit. Their margins have gone to absolutely nothing. So that product delivers straight measurements. There's an admin panel, super simple to use. And that product's called Mobile Tailor. We have a lot of customers sitting on that. We have some of the world's leading uniform companies sit on that. We've got the largest company manufacturer of body armor in the world with defense contracts. So again, very wide use case there. Then we have a product called Your Fit, and Your Fit is we have a plugin on Shopify. It's a private plugin. So for all you Shopify stores out there, if you search in Shopify for Your Fit, you won't find us yet because it hasn't been made public, but you can find me at Whitney at 3dlook.me or just go to our website, 3dlook.me, and you can learn all about it. But anyway, what Your Fit does is it's actually taking the body data that is generated from the consumer and it's being mapped against the way a brand is currently fitting their clothing. Right. And so we can make a size recommendation and we can also do a visualization so that the consumer actually can see what that product looks like on them. If you think about that, that's really solving two of the biggest problems that we have when we're shopping online, which is answering those questions. I love that. I wonder what it's going to look like on me, and I wonder what size to buy, right? So if we can answer those two questions, we are helping consumers have a better experience with the brand. We're driving conversions. We see that consumers that use that Your Fit widget are actually converting to purchase at a higher rate. They're spending more money. So AOVs, average order values, tend to be 20 to 30% higher. And then ultimately, we're driving down return rates and bracketing. And so those are the two products. And those products, Your Fit is a higher price product, right? So that product's going to start somewhere around, $3,000 a month and go up, because there is mapping work that we do on our back end.
So one of the things that a lot of people might not be thinking about, listening to you talk, it's about the customer journey. And if you're a Shopify buyer and you're going looking at different apparel companies, who's going to stand out? And I just think of your plugin, and I think of what people have to do nowadays to really stand out. People are talking about AI and they have their chatbots, but really at the beginning, if I can go into a store, and it's just not apparel. So we'll get into this in a second. But Warby Parker for glasses now, they do similar. Like you can see the
Right, they're
glasses
having a
on you.
great augmented reality experience. And
Right.
they've really, I mean, they were pioneers in e-commerce, back in, God, 2009, 10,
Yeah.
and
So I
they
wonder
have an
where.
amazing user experience.
Yes, and I wonder where this is going to go. So we're starting with apparel, and then even on that side of it, where does that go, and where does it go for other brands to increase and be the leader in that customer journey field? Because it's all about the customer journey right now. Everybody talks
Yeah, it's
about
all
it.
about, really, if you think about it, it's about personalization, right? So there's such
Right.
like you think about personalization really helps shoppers navigate the overwhelming selection of offerings that we see on websites today, right? It was very, very different 10 years ago, even. Every time I open my Instagram feed, there are 10 new companies, and I've been in the industry for 30 years on the fashion side, but there are 10 new companies that I had never heard about yesterday, and they have cute things. They seem to be mission driven. So, like, where does the consumer go today? It's all about that journey, right? When I go online, I want things that are personalized to me, right? So, if I live in Florida and it is July, I don't want to be looking at, like, raincoats and, ski jackets, right? Show me things that are relevant to me, help make my experience easier. So things like virtual technologies, whether they're from us or others, um, AR experiences, and you actually, frankly, see this happen first in accessories and beauty. So, like, it's a lot easier to create a 3D model out of something that's hard than it is out of something that is soft and has many, many different components, like a dress, for example. And you
Mhm.
get into a dress that may have lace on it and then knit on it. So you're talking about all different types of fabric components that stretch differently, that the materials are all different. And so creating 3D out of garments has taken a lot longer than it does. I mean, like, 3D's been around for decades and decades and decades, right? AR actually has been around for many decades. We're only just now beginning to see it in apparel. But if you think about it, like in beauty, we've been able to try on lipsticks or, an AR, put on nail polish, and now you have all these amazing experiences where you can try on rings and try on bracelets and jewelry and so on and so forth. And all of this is shifting into apparel. But in order to have these 3D experiences, apparel brands have to be working in 3D, right? And I always say that's like one of the most important things when a designer comes to me, what should they be thinking about? And I'm like, if you can't design in 3D, you will not be employable in the future, because we are rapidly shifting into a world of 3D. And with Apple's release of Vision Pro last week. And even though it's the first release, that is the first push to consumer facing mixed reality, AR and VR, because you're not in a true VR headset where you can't see anything else, right? You can see out, people can see in. So it's really merging your virtual world and your physical world, right? And so and I like to not even think in 10-year increments anymore, because AI is
No.
moving so fast, right? I mean, and Gen AI, like, don't even have to talk about kind of what's happened in the last couple of months here. But if you think about how fast things have moved in 2023, like you just think about like 2025, 2026. So like think 2 years, 3 years from now, this whole idea that like we go onto a website, we, have to choose the website we're going to go into. Then we go into that website and then there's thousands and thousands of products and we have to sift and sort through it. Personalization helps drive better experiences, right? But pretty soon we're just going to be sitting here doing it, with our fingers. So, you have to have 3D in order to be able to do that. So it's all moving very, very quickly. And, the world of shopping that we live in today is going to look entirely different in the next couple
Mhm.
over the next couple of years.
At the conference called the Billion Dollar Sellers Summit, mostly for, well, it's e-commerce. And I did a presentation yesterday, and this is timely. You said the word personalization, and what I was presenting on that. And one of the stats I saw, 71% of the people expect personalization in their
Right.
customer journey. 76% are get frustrated if they don't have it. And it doesn't mean that it has to be a fitting room. This is just personalization in general, packaging, or I was talking about building a customer profile without necessarily forcing a person into a profile over a period of time. You ask about 26 questions, and then you get to know somebody really well, and then you can
Yeah.
personalize things to them. And the other, this is really cool. I don't know if you saw this, but I mean, you're in the industry, so you probably have the Puma AR shoe. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen that? Isn't
Yeah.
that incredible?
Yeah. I mean,
So,
Nike's done it there. I mean, it's like, yeah, like I said, it's all moving very quickly. And so this idea that you're guessing or wondering what it's going to look like on me, it's really replicating that experience that certainly, our generation, we used to go into stores, right? And we'd say, oh, I like that. I'm going to grab, three different sizes of it. You never just said to the guy in the shoe department, yeah, just bring me, a size, I have a small foot, a size 6. It was always like, yeah, bring me a 5.5, a 6, and a 6.5, and I'll buy the one that fits me best. Right. But how do you replicate that online? What people have been doing is they're like, oh, I'll buy all three and then I'll return what doesn't fit. Well, it's terrible for the brand. It's a bad consumer experience. It's terrible for the planet. It's a total hassle, you know. And if that product, if you are that person that, you're going to take that whole 30-day window or whatever the return policy is, if you take that whole window and you're buying something at the end of the season, by the time that gets back to the brand or the retailer and gets through the distribution center, it's marked down. And if they can't sell it at a markdown, it's going to some off-price, retailer. And if it's not selling there, it's winding up in the landfill, right?
hmm.
And if you think about it, like all the carbons that are emitted in just the returns process alone, I think there was a number that Bloomberg reported last year that fashion accounts for like, it's something crazy, like 10% of all global emissions. I mean, it's an enormous number, right? The fashion industry is a 3+ trillion, like trillion-dollar industry. It's one of the largest industries on the planet. And it's one of the, unfortunately, the largest pollutants on the planet too. And so there's been a big effort in fashion to really rethink, how do we drive all that down? How do we, create things that are more sustainable, right? So you think about product development efficiencies. 3D plays a huge, huge, huge piece there too, because if you're cutting down on sampling because you're actually able to sample using technology and you're, on your computer and you're able to see and work in 3D and see, what all the colors look like or all the prints look like, rather than having to have a rack, which is the way, when I grew up, that's the way we did it. Our, designers would cut, multiple samples in all different colors and prints, and then half of it never goes into production. That's just waste.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just going to revolutionize everything. And like you said, you can't think 10 years. Yeah, I remember when I was going to school, we would talk about not 10 years, but we would be talking about 30 years or 50 years out,
Right.
and I can remember, this is in high school. It's not a university, but my high school teacher was saying, "Oh yeah, technology is going so fast. We're going to be at some point. We will be at 10 years out. Like every 10 years, we're going to be doubling
Moore's law.
our." And it's going so fast right now. I don't know where that's going to go. It's kind of scary, but depending on who
Yeah.
you talk to.
Well, it's interesting because mobile body scanning, like, we're not the first ones to do this, right? I mean, there have been attempts at this various different decades. If you might remember there used to be those big scanning machines. You go into the mall and, you could like step into those big, large, heavy, clunky body scanning machines. But there have been attempts at trying to do it, using a smartphone. And I think really, I kind of think of it as like a trifecta right now. You have three things happening. Number one is you have and they're all being driven by return rates, but you have like buy-in from retailers because, size and fit is the number one reason for returns. Then the second piece of it is advancements in technology, right? So, advancements in AI and 3D and computer vision over the last couple of years. Gen AI, you've got better user experiences as a result. Accuracy is more precise today than it was, 5 or 10 years ago. And then the third piece of it is you've got a younger consumer who's really driving it, right? Saying, I want know who I am. It's kind of like the hashtag my body, right? Know who I am, make things for me. I've always dreamed that at 3D Look, we would be that technology that someday would completely eliminate the need to be labeled as a number or letter, like a medium or an eight or whatever. That you would be, norm size or Whitney size. And all of that starts with understanding what our bodies look like because you can't customize clothing for me if you don't know what, my body looks like. And shape goes into it, right? So we could be, the same height, the same weight, have same measurements, but our body shapes can be very different. So one dress could fit, me and my sister completely differently, even though more or less, we're the same height and weight and our measurements are similar.
Right. Okay, it looks like we're at the bottom of the hour, and we are going to go to a sponsor,
This
Kelsey.
episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by SureGo Marketing. Ready to take your brand to the next level on TikTok and Instagram? SureGo Marketing specializes in helping entrepreneurs and coaches build profitable brands on TikTok and Instagram and in less than 90 days. With SureGo Marketing, you can build your brand, create incredible video content, and increase leads without spending a single dime on ad spend. Visit suregomarketing.com today and elevate your brand. Now, let's get back to the show.
All right. So, where do you see this going in the next year or two?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, us, we add new features, several times a year. We released a huge accuracy update this year. We're always working on the user experience. There's a lot of stuff I can't talk about yet, but in terms of where we go with 3D, animation of bodies, visualization. But, I think that there are three things that brands and retailers need to really be thinking about over the next years, and I would do it, like, sooner rather than later because 3 years from now, our current shopping experiences are gonna look very differently. But, there's so much technology out there, right? So if I'm a brand or a retailer, like, how do I even where do I even begin, right? So really lean into tech, right? And try and understand what's happening. And if, you just don't have the time because you're a smaller brand, you know, find companies or find people that can help you kind of sift through all the different types of technology. But really lean into technology because it's just advancing at faster and faster paces. Um, number two, I would say is like know who your customers are again. And that is all about personalization, right? Really having a full 360 view. So you may understand a lot from my purchase behavior, my return behavior, but like customer body data gives you a whole, it enhances that 360 of your customer and helps you drive better experiences for them. And then the third one, and I kind of hit on this a little bit, is embrace 3D, because whether you are a beauty brand, whether you're selling glasses, whatever it is you're selling, everything is going to need to be in 3D so that you can be part of a world that is augmented, and that is where the world is going, and it's going faster and faster. So, that's generally the advice I give to brands and retailers.
Oh, and I'm not sure if you hear this, the air conditioning just kicked in and I don't have my mic. So, uh,
No, not at all.
oh, okay, very good. I did mute myself. So, but anyways, another benefit that I see. So, I live in a small farm town. It's actually a tech town, supposedly, but I see one bar down by the lake, and there's more cows than people. And what's going to be beautiful about this is I have to travel an hour and a half to go to any half decent store to get fitted.
Right.
And now just clicking a button, and I'm going to sneeze just a sec. And this
God
is going to
bless you.
happen 3 times. Thank you. But having to get in the car. So there we go. Get in the car, drive down an hour and a half, get fitted, and either go back and get the product or have them ship it out to me. One way or the other, there's somebody driving over to my house to drop off the stuff. And it really is a day. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of people aren't in my situation. They live in cities or towns where they can just go and do this. But something like this, and then you start thinking about all the other things like Warby Park. I'm going to go back to them. Not having to go into your car, drive, to your wherever you buy your glasses. It's just revolutionizing everything. And I did see in here, Rad, he asked about how can 3D look on our physical product. So Rad's got some really cool products. I know his products, and they're like a solar headlamp, and that's probably the main one I'm thinking of, Rad. So I'm thinking that people would just take a picture of themselves, and they could actually see the 3D lamp on their head. Now, I don't think we're at that point where it would be cost effective for you to do that yet. I don't know any platform that's doing that yet. Do you?
Yeah, I haven't seen headlamps. I'm sure that will happen. I mean, our expertise is generating bodies from two photos, right?
Yeah.
And currently, 99% of our customers are, fashion apparel companies. Um, but our expertise is in delivering measurements of a body, so a 3D model and measurements. So, we can really service, I mean, health and fitness, right? I mean, if you want to understand body composition, how you're losing weight. We do have a couple health and fitness companies that use our product in a different way than the fashion industry does. Um, but again, for a product, whether it's a headlight or glasses or a t-shirt, to be put on somebody, that product needs to be it needs to be in 3D. And there's lots of different companies out there that are popping up that can, help in creating 3D assets, but you need to be able to produce a 3D asset.
So I'm curious. I'm a yo-yo dieter. Always have been. I've had like 20 or 30 different, at least 20 different diets. And I know what the doctor says, but let's say, no, not diets, lifestyle changes. But they are yo-yo. What do you do about that? Do you have the ability to say, oh, okay, he's 50 pounds heavier. Oh, he's 30 pounds heavier. He's 70 pounds lighter.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'll tell you a quick story before we end. We had early in our years, we had a lovely sales girl that worked for us. And back in the day, we used to have a app on the App Store. And she would be doing demos, and in the demo would be her 3D model. And she was embarrassed by the way her 3D model of herself looked. And she literally, over 6 months, she lost like 30 pounds. It was incredible, because she was so inspired by, she would see her 3D model in a demo and she wanted it to be smaller and smaller and smaller. But, yeah, again, it has not been our main use case. But, our products come with an API. And if you are a health app, you can integrate that into your health and fitness app. And so your customers, or if you're a personal trainer, for example, you could be actually using our mobile tailor app, and you could be taking, a photo of the people that you're training on a weekly basis, and you'll actually see increases or decreases in, how their bodies look in their measurements. So you could, capture that and look at it on a weekly basis without having to take out a tape measure and manually measure them. And these people can do it digitally. So if you're doing like virtual sessions, right? I've always thought, like, products like, anybody that's creating virtual, exercise. I'm a Peloton user, and they have a million different types of classes I can take in there. But if they also have the ability for me to be able to, like, look at my measurements on a weekly basis, look at my body type on a weekly basis. So there are definitely lots and lots of different applications for this technology.
Yeah, I hire people to do the Peloton for me. And then, so what do you see happening in the next few years with AI, the development, what brands can use AI for?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, it's such a broad topic. There's so
Yeah.
many different types of AIs under AI. I think, certainly our company is, we adopted generative AI, so like ChatGPT, very early on, because it actually made certain teams inside our company more efficient, right? So, particularly in terms of writing. So you can ask it to prompt something. So that actually really helped our team, particularly in sales, marketing, customer success, be way more efficient. So, and AI is really about that, right? So if you think about personalization in general, it's really about the world being more efficient, giving us more time to do things that we love, less time working on the things that we don't like, the minutia that bogs us down. And that will only move faster and faster. I think, some of these stable diffusion models, which is basically text to image, is going to really change a lot. And I think advancements that we're seeing there are happening so quickly. So imagine saying, show me a model of myself dressed in, something like this. So that's all happening very, very quickly too. But, again, I think, finding people that can help you understand the implications of AI, how they can help your business. I mean, AI powers robots, so there's a lot packed into A and I that and AI. It's not like as simple as where
Hmm.
does AI go, because there's so many different parts of AI, that are already and have been very prevalent in all of our lives for many years. It's just, I think, getting louder now. I mean, we've been in advanced AI technology for, over 7 years now, and now the big topic out there is AI. Well, we've been an AI company.
Yeah. All of a sudden, January, it seemed, boom, it's all I
Yeah.
heard, AI. Okay.
Fastest
So
growing ChatGPT, fastest growing app of all time ever. It's pretty amazing.
yeah, yeah. And I just love jumping around and playing around with it. And there's so many. The problem is there's so many shiny objects that every time I open up an email, my inbox, I've got two or three things coming in about, oh, you got to try this. Oh, you got to try that. This is a new course. This is it's
Right.
and in this business in e-commerce, we always try to tell people, like, forget about shiny object syndrome because it's going to drive you nuts. Stay focused. With AI, it's pretty darn hard to stay focused with
Yeah, there are a
everything that's
lot of
going out
apps on
there.
the Shopify store, a lot of apps,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
But they're all that whether they're, whether they're a fit and sizing app like us or they're a, like a returns app, right? There are a lot of, great returns companies out there. They're out there to make the consumer experience more frictionless, right? So they're all powered in some way by some sort of AI, big data, machine learning, what have you. Some of them are more advanced like us and use, computer vision and other types of AI, but they're really there to help make that shopping experience more personalized and more fun and more simple, easy. That's what we want. That's what we crave. Like, just show me something I want. Let me check out and have the right size and have a great experience. So I come back to your brand.
Okay, Whitney, that's it. I think you're off the hook. You got through
Well, thank you.
you got through the
Thanks for having
podcast.
me.
Oh, it's been awesome. How do people get a hold of the company? What's the best contact information?
You can go to our website, 3dlook.me. There's lots of different buttons there that'll bring you to our sales team. You can reach out to me directly on LinkedIn, Whitney Cathcart at 3D Look. And you can also email me directly, Whitney at 3dlook.me.
If people go to your website, can they get fitted?
There is a demo store on our website. So
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
you can go in, you can play around with it. And in about a week or so, you'll actually be able to go in and mobile tailor will be available directly through the website. And you can sign up right there. You get a 1 week free trial and you can play around, see your measurements and 3D model in the dashboard. It's all very intuitive and simple. Their pricing plans right there.
Very good. So I'm going to close up the podcast right now. I'm going to remove you, but if you want to stay there, it's going to look like you've been removed from the podcast, but just stick around for a minute and I'll come
Okay.
right back. Okay,
Awesome. Thanks so
Whitney.
much, Norm. Great to be here
Oh,
today.
I'm so glad you were able to come on. And thank you. I hope everybody enjoyed this today. This is something that we don't normally talk about, but Whitney just came in and I mean, I thought it was just incredible some of the stuff that they're doing and where can it take the brand, thinking about the customer journey. So we talked about it with 3D Look, but think about it like what can you do about personalization, that customer journey. It's something we all have to talk about. And even on Amazon, or if you've got a Shopify site, you've got to stand out. If you don't, your competitors will. And it's something you just got to consider. All things, I mean, a little bit of seriousness here, but you've got to do that, or you're going to be left behind. So, anyways, I think that's it. I think we've got one more commercial, and then we'll be back in a sec.
This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by Rebate. Attention sellers and brand owners, want to reach more shoppers and boost sales? Rebate's platform connects sellers with shoppers seeking great deals on new products. They make it easy to offer promotions, handle rebates, and ensure seamless redemptions. With countless reviews from satisfied customers, Rebate is the go-to solution to increase your sales. Visit rebate.com today and start reaching more shoppers. Now let's get back to the show.
Okay, just one announcement. We might have a problem on Friday. We are going to be in the airport, so I don't think that we're going to be able to go live on Friday. I think this is the first time in 400 and some odd episodes that we're not going to be able to go live. If we can squeeze in a pre-record, we will, but it might be tight. Anyways, again, just going back to the events. So the BDSS event is something that it's a special event. It's a very expensive event. It's not for everybody, but the amount of information that you get from these types of events are awesome. SellerCon, with Chuck, I noticed Chuck was listening today. Um, it was, if you took the Lunch with Norm, they gave us a deal, it was under $200. And the amount of people that were there, I think there's probably probably 1,500 people there that you got to meet. All the speakers were accessible. So this is the great thing about a lot of these events too, is that a lot of speakers don't go and hide. You go and you meet up with them. You meet it up. We had people every night that come over, go out to dinner, or we're going out to lunch, and we just go out as a group, and it's fantastic. So I get to meet people. We get to break bread, and that is probably the biggest thing you can do. Being an entrepreneur, I can tell you this from just being a semi-fossil. It's a lonely gig, and if you're just sitting there trying to do it yourself, I'm telling you, you're taking the wrong path. So anyways, just going to let you know that you get out there, network. It's probably a bigger part of your entrepreneurial journey than you think. Probably more than 50% of you becoming a successful entrepreneur. So think about it. Anyways, Kelsey is here, but he's way over there. And he just walked in from the Survivor games they were doing over here in Puerto Rico. And anyways, let's see. Thank you for joining us. Join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Like I always say at the end of every podcast, we could never do this podcast without our community. If you're not part of the community, check out our Facebook group, which is Lunch with Norm, the Amazon or the e-commerce and Amazon FBA collective. All right, everybody, we will see you hopefully Friday. If not, I'll be back in the studio on Monday.
Lunch with Norm.